Hello, good evening, everyone. You're all welcome to the day 4 of the UX Design Bootcamp from the Friends of Figma Port Harcourt. Please, if you can hear me, just say yes in the chat so I can know, please. If you can hear me, say yes. Okay. Okay, so today is the day 4 of the UX Bootcamp. We have come a long way, just one day to go. And today we have an awesome speaker in our midst. He has years of experience in UI as a designer, and he has done marvelous things in the community. He has a large community and years of experience. When I mean experience, he has a whole lot of experience, and I believe that we are all ready to get to tap from that years of experience. So we have in our midst we have Davio White. He will be our host for today, and he'll be taking us on prototyping. I believe we have all learned a whole lot from the day 1, day 2, day 3, and we have just 2 days to go, today, tomorrow, and on Saturday. And I believe that today we have so much to learn from Davio White. Davio, please, the stage is yours. You can take over. Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Ebubete, can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, but when you talk, I might not be coming in because we are recording. So when you talk like that, you check the chat, you will see them, they're answering.
Yeah, I just opened that now. All right, thank you very much. And good afternoon, good evening, everyone. And if you're not in the country, good afternoon and good morning. So I'm going to just go straight to point because I have 1 hour to do this, and it's quite a lot of things to cover in 1 hour. I'm really happy to see you guys. I see you guys are very proactive. Thank you very much for dropping those messages in the comment section. So we're going to dive right straight into what we have for today. And I've been given a topic to talk to you guys about, and it's visual design and prototyping. And I hope you guys can see my screen. Let me check before I go back to the screen to be sure you guys can see my screen now. Can you see my screen? You can drop it in the comments chat session. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Chioma and John. All right, so today we'll be talking about visual design and prototyping. Some people say it's virtual. I don't see the R and T, but I pronounce it as visual design and prototyping. And we're actually going to be looking into what this is. The overview I have here, or my syllabus for what I'll be showing you guys today, would come from theories. I'll be talking about the theories, and then I'll dive practicals where would actually do a redesign of the Winden landing page. I love that platform so much, and then we would go into prototyping. So I hope 1 hour is enough time for me to tackle this. So on my syllabus, I have overview. We're going to look at the overview of visual design principles. We're going to also look at principles of user interface design. That wasn't given to me initially, that because there's a difference between um, a visual design principle and principles of user interface design. And then we'll look at best practices for creating visually appealing interfaces, introduction to prototyping and its importance in UX design, and hands-on activities or exercise. So let's get into it. So my name is Davio White, and I'm a product designer. I'm based in Nigeria, and I'll be walking you through this exercise. Let's go. Uh, is an overview of visual design principles, and we have I've listed 8. You'd actually find more, but I've listed 8 major ones. And visual design principles are a set of guidelines that help designers create visually appealing and effective designs These principles are based on the understanding of how people perceive and process visual information. So, whatever you're seeing on my screen now, there's an experience to it. So, while creating this slide, I created in Figma, I thought of how would I be going back and forth in case someone asks a question and I want to go back and forth. I had to look at a very better experience to do this, and I was able to add the arrow keys for navigations, and I can go back and forth with the screens based on the prototype that I've created. So the main guidelines for visual design are summarized as follows. One, we have balance. So balance refers to the distribution of visual elements in a design. So the way the elements you use in your design, elements such as text, colors, shapes, these are all elements of design. All right. So the way they are being distributed in the design would is actually what we talk about when we talk about balance. And we have different types actually of balance. We have the symmetrical, asymmetrical, and radial balance. And a balanced design is aesthetically pleasing and creates a sense of stability. So something, whatever is stable, is what we call balanced design. Construct, and a lot of people talk about this on the internet, and not just on this space, but we've talked about it even. Sorry, let's quickly. Right. Okay, so we talk about construct a lot, and we need to understand what it is. Construct refers to the difference between elements in a design. Construct creates help. Construct helps create visual interest and can draw attention to important elements in your design. So construct can be achieved through variations in color. You can use colors to draw construct. That's more like emphasis. You can use shape, you can use sizes, texture, and other visual elements. The third one we have is hierarchy, just in case you're writing. The first one is balance, second, construct, and the third one is hierarchy. So hierarchy refers to the arrangement of elements in a design based on their importance. A well-designed hierarchy helps users navigate the design and understand the relationships between different elements. Now, hierarchy can be in form of two things. All right, hierarchy is also making emphasis to certain elements of design in whatever you've created. So you can use hierarchy in base of sizes. Whenever we talk about hierarchy, people often think, oh, I have to make the text big. Like if you look at my design or the slide you're looking at, you see that the actual name of what this page that I'm going through is overview of visual design principle, and it's the biggest, right? So I've actually applied hierarchy to this page. Things that you can use to draw this emphasis, and it's also in hierarchy. So hierarchy is in size of fonts. You can use colors as well to draw emphasis to a particular thing in your design, and that is also hierarchy. So hierarchy is in two formats. These are the two major ones I'm aware of. I don't know if shapes is part of it. I can't really say for now, but the major ones are colors, and then you can also do that for sizes of your fonts. All right. Alignment. We have alignment. It refers to the placement of elements in a design. A well-aligned design is easier to read and creates a sense of order. So there are different ways of aligning designs, whatever you create. And if you look at my screen, that is one way to do that. We have the center alignment, we have the right alignment, we have different forms depending on what you're actually working on. All right, we have proximity. Proximity refers to the grouping of related elements in a design. Grouping related elements together makes it easier for users to understand the relationships between them. Repetition. So there are certain elements of design. I've not put in images here because it was going to take me a lot of time. I had like a limited time to actually put together this slide, and it would have taken me more time. So when it comes to repetition. I would use reference with e-commerce because it's something that everyone would actually relate to. So if you get on an e-commerce platform, there's something we call the card components, and in those card components we have different elements ranging from images to text and button, and all of these form a card component for a product. So for instance, we are conversant with getting gadgets. So you want to get a laptop on Amazon, and you go up there and you see the first element or the first card component carries the image, it carries the name of that product, it carries the price, and then carries a CTA. If you can add it to cart or just proceed to payment. And that is what you see in the form. Now, if you go to the next one and you see that at the top, you have the text, the amount, the button, and then downwards you have an image. That is not repetition. So in design, your designs have to always be the same. You have to, if you create a certain element that you know it has the same information with the next element, such as if you have a phone card element and you also have like a laptop that will be selling on that platform, then you have to maintain that consistency. So you have to maintain the consistency between all of those like terms. They are like terms. So repetition is very important. It refers to the use of recurring visual elements in a design. And I'm going to show you how I would be using this in the winding design. We're actually going to be working more with a component. So I'm going to create that component across board, and I would use just one component to do whatever I want to do, but with different images. So repetition refers to the use of recurring visual elements in a design. Repetition creates a sense of unity and consistency in a design. Color is the next one. The seventh one is color. So we all know what color is, and a lot of persons fight themselves with colors. It's not easy, to be honest. Even top designers, even myself, for instance, use this. We still have issues with colors when we're doing certain projects, and most times when you're working for a brand that already have a color style guide or a color system. So it can be very difficult for you to work with them if they don't have a color system that can work with whatever you're doing. So color can be used to create variety of visual elements, including construct, emphasis, and mood. So under emphasis, you can put in brackets hierarchy. All right. Different colors can evoke different emotions and have cultural associations. All right. So recently I started learning more about color. And whenever I want to do any product from this year, I'm not even talking about last year because I think I didn't do well. I didn't do so well in my color usage. But this year I've been trying to understand what color actually mean and having to understand what a color mean. Like color like yellow, it's my brand color. And last year I had the color blue, and this year I had a different message I wanted to push out to my audience, and I had to go with my secondary color. This is actually my secondary color. A lot of persons don't know I've had this color from my rebrand. So I wanted to push out a different kind of story, and one of the story I want to push out this year is spreading of happiness. So I decided to choose my secondary color. So trying to understand what color mean before I use them for certain projects. So depending on the story the client or your employer wants to push, that is how you'd use color. Understanding color as a principle of visual design is very important to your growth. Now, this second one is the second most about principle in visual design. In fact, in all rounds of design, and it's typographies. It refers to the use of fonts and typefaces in a design. Good to and complement the overall design. So there are certain typography you would use for design, and users will not be even able to focus on a particular element in that design because it will just be in their faces and it will not create a good, I would say, construct. It won't create a good construct between whatever you're designing. So all of these principles work hand in hand. You can't let out construct and have a good design. You can't let out color and have a good design. All right, you can't let out typography and have a good design. Poor alignment will give you a very wacky design. And if your design lacks balance, then you have nothing. And then if you're not repetitive, like you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are still in the same order, the same spacing, line height, and everything. And if don't follow that particular part, repetition, then you have something that would not appear really good. So let's move to the next agenda for my syllabus for today. Page 2, principles of user interface. 6, user interface design, as we all know, is a process of creating interfaces for digital devices such as websites, applications, and software. Effective UI design is crucial for providing a positive user experience. And here are some principles of UI design. The first one is, and which is the most important, and I had to put it as number one, that is user-centered design. So UI design should prioritize the needs, and you need to underline that, the needs. I forgot to underline it, and goals of the user. So most times when we design things, when we create things, we're always putting ourselves first. We're always thinking, oh, is this good? If I post it online, would people appreciate it? Because it's not top notch and the experience is good, but because the visuals are not up to your standard, um, you try to prioritize the aesthetics and yourself. So we do this, all right. And when I started my career, I used to do this. I would put my own self first before I even do the design. So one of the principles that you should always remember is user-centered design. So UI design, one of the principles is this. And designers should research and understand the user's goals, preferences, and behaviors to create interfaces that meet their needs, all right, that meets the user's needs. Consistency, all right, this is one of also the principles in visual design. So consistency in UI design means using the same visual and interactive elements, such as the interactive components, throughout the interface. Consistency creates a sense of familiarity and helps users navigate the interface more easily. So if you're using something consistently, the users will not be confused. You won't make them confused because you have to put yourself in their shoes. They are not technically inclined like you are. So whatever you see, no matter how, you would find your way across it. But a user might just drop off. And in order for you not to create that drop off in your user base, then you have to be consistent with whatever elements you're using across your design. All right. And this is one thing I corrected in the UI design for Winden, because they had a left alignment and center alignment. I think it's intentional by the designer, but this was something I spotted and I felt like, oh, this should be fixed. All right. Clarity is the next one. UI design should be clear and easy to understand. Elements such as buttons, icons, and text should be easily identifiable and convey their purpose clearly. So, in order, we know trends are coming out and we are trying to adapt to these trends. No matter the trends that come out, ensure you maintain this. And there's a saying that there's a quote: don't reinvent the wheel. That means whatever you know that it's supposed to be a norm, like the hamburger menu, we know it as being the triple dash, and then probably someone goes up there and puts something entirely different from what the users actually know it to be. They might not even click on it because it doesn't look like something that is clickable, or they might click on it out of curiosity and not out of their knowledge of that particular thing. So it's best for us to maintain clarity in our designs, because it will make the design clear and easy to understand to our users. A minimalist removes unnecessary elements and simplifies the interface. This approach creates a clean and organized look and improves usability. So I've seen quite a lot of stuff, and also on Dribble, I've seen a whole lot of unhealthy designs. All right. And these designs are things that you feel you've created something that is aesthetically pleasing. When it gets to development, it's not, it can't go through that phase. Then you have to go back and redo what you've done. All right. So it's best for us to understand this principle and also read about some of the rules when it comes to certain things that governs development. So may want to read about rules of iOS design and Android design. This would really help you in creating a minimalist design that would convey the right knowledge and function towards the users or to the users. Feedback, number 5. Feedback is one of the principles. Providing feedback to users is an essential part of UI design. So feedback can be visual or interactive and lets the user know what is happening when they interact with the interface. For instance, you finish buying something from Amazon, and that happened to me a certain time on AliExpress. I bought something, a gadget, and I did not know until I'm one person that don't do things more than once. So I went to my cart and I saw that it was sitting there and the transaction did not go through. So you need to let the user know at the end of the day. So if someone pays for something, they should get a confirmation model that tells them that this thing has been paid for. Either it's showing a verified sign or it's showing that it did not go through, so that the user understands the feedback they are getting from whatever they're doing. So if there's an error, it should tell the user that there's an error. All right. And if the user is unable to pay for that thing, probably they are paying with their wallet and they don't have money in their wallet, it should be able to be clear and concise. Tell them that, yeah, there's no money in your wallet. Find money and come and pay for this thing. All right. So I'm just saying, but there's a better way to actually communicate this feedback. So always provide this feedback. And when a user clicks on something, there are times I'm frustrated with my GTB app. I'm clicking on something and it's not working, and I'm not getting any feedback. So when a user clicks on a button and it's not, um, and the user is not supposed to click on it, maybe the button is not on a disabled state, but it's supposed to be on a disabled state, then there should be a pop-up somewhere notifying the user that, hey, there's no network, or these things are not the task of the developers. All right, most times we leave out the, like the 404 pay and some minor things that are very necessary. Trust me, they are very necessary, and it's the task of the UI designer or the designers to actually come up with these things. The last one is accessibility, and in UI design should be accessible to all users, including those with disabilities. So there are different ways you can do this, and that's why we have Siri. All right, Siri, as I'm talking, I can just tell Siri to probably set me up for, because I have a meeting in a couple of hours from now. I can tell Siri to just set up a meeting for me in a couple of hours, and she'll do that. All right. There are other things you can do, the text assistance. These are all assistants, and your product should not only be for one particular people. And in order for you to drive equity, then you have to ensure that this is cut across all of the sectors, all of human race. All right, so including those with disabilities. Designers should consider factors such as color construct, font size, and navigation to ensure the interface is accessible to all users. Now, when I did this particular um, body text frame of my slide, I actually reduced the opacity to 50%. And I felt like, oh, I could be able to see it, but how about other people that will be looking at this? And that's why, as I'm also talking, I'm telling you the numbers so that people that would be watching this video after now would be able, I'm talking about. So there are people that may not be seeing what I'm showing, and there are people that may not be able to probably hear what I'm explaining. So they should be able to see it clearly. And that is how I've driven inclusivity and accessibility in this little presentation. Right. we'll move to other principles. So we have other principles, I think. 7, flexibility. So we have flexibility. You design should be flexible to accommodate different devices. So we all know this. That's where responsive design comes in. So screen sizes, resolutions, designers should create interfaces that can adapt to different devices without compromising usability. So usability is at the top, accessibility is next to it, and then responsivity is next to all of this. So if if your user base is going to cut across all of these different channels, because there are people that only create product for a certain would I say a certain operating system. I think that's the keyword. Yeah. So like there's an app I'm trying to remember. It's a drawing app and it's only for iOS users, iPad users rather. So if your product is in that line, then no problem. But if you know your product will be used by different people, and I'm talking about people that use iPhones, Androids, Samsung should have their own operating system because that phone is too solid. All right. If it would be used by people that have iPads and tablets and laptops like MacBooks and the wider screen, the 4K screens, then this design should be adaptive, should be flexible across this board. So I know designers feel lazy at times to change the design to these different formats, and it's a lot of why you need to charge well. All right, so charge well for your job so that when you're doing it, you won't have to murmur about the design. The last one is aesthetics. Now, in as much as you want your design to be functional, usable, accessible, you still need to make it good. All right, you need to make the design really good. So aesthetic is an important aspect of UI design, and I purposely kept it last because I didn't want anybody to put too much focus on aesthetics because I don't know the app I'm going to call. I remembered it earlier. There's an app, it's not that fine, but it has made billions for the brand. All right. If I remember it during the course of this, I'll tell you guys about it. So aesthetics is it's an important aspect of UI design. An attractive and visually appealing interface can create a positive emotional response from users and encourage them to interact with the interface. So aesthetics is very important. So there are different applications that have come out lately. I'm not going to mention their names because this will be going up on different platforms. I don't want to give anybody any free adverts. Yeah, so if you check out those recent applications, you see that their aesthetics is top notch. Like the designers have put in a lot of work to ensure that it's not just only functional, it's not just usable, it's not just accessible, but it has this clean aesthetics that makes you want to keep even though it's not working, you just want to leave it in your phone and believe that one day it would work. So designers should have this at the back of their mind, and it's going to help you. There's something I think I would have done, probably just keep the next topic somewhere at this corner. But yeah, that can be in iterations. That's why iterations is very important. So best practices for creating visually appealing, the next topic, the next lesson rather, creating visually appealing interfaces is crucial for providing positive user experience. Here are some of the best practices for creating visually appealing interfaces. One, consistency, and we've talked about it. So you have to ensure that everything is consistent from the buttons. Don't have a button with radius of 8 and then another button that is similar to it with another radius. All right. In fact, all the buttons in your design in one particular product should have the same radius. And if you want to learn more about that, you can download, I'm going to call this brand Piggyverse. You can download Piggyverse app and you see how they've used their buttons, two-dimensional buttons where all sides are not equal. So you find both sides on the left and right having like a 4px and then the other one having like an 8px, and that is how they've done their button, and it's across. Like at times I try to flip on something to see if they made a mistake, and it was consistent. So it was an intentional art, it wasn't a mistake. So ensure consistency across everything you use, from your fonts to your colors. Don't have Don't have multiple fonts, man. Don't have Poppins here. Don't have SF Pro. Have Inter. You're just having different fonts everywhere. So ensure consistency across board. Color can be used to create visual interest and convey information. Choose a color scheme that is visually appealing and just keep it consistent and aligns with the brand's identity. Use color construct to make important elements stand out. What are those important elements? We have elements such as buttons. All right, buttons would always have the primary color. They would always have that. All right, even though the text don't have that, the buttons must always have that. There are certain headings that you would need drive out their importance. There are certain copies. Like if I wanted to make something inside of here noticeable, I would probably make it bold, all right, or use a different color to draw attention to it. So that's what these colors are used. And own your design. Own your design. All right. You don't need to start cracking your head. Oh, how do I do this? Own your design and do the best you can. Typography can have a big impact on the overall look and feel of an interface. So have that in mind. We have white space. What can't be overemphasized. I don't even know if I used white space for this design because everything feels a bit cracked up. But it was in order for me not to have too many slides. And white space is very important to your design. So white space, also known as negative space, refers to the space between elements in a design. So white space can create a clean and uncluttered look and help draw attention to important elements in your design. One, okay, I think that's the fifth one. We still have another one. Visual hierarchy. So refers to the arrangement of elements in a design. And now you can see the importance. It use visual cues such as size, color, and placement to create a clear visual hierarchy. So hierarchy is not only based on the size of text or size of things. You can use color, you can use layout. There's a way you place a circle afar from other circles, and no matter how the size can be small, because of where you've placed it, the users will see that one first before they see other ones. And that's what hierarchy is about. It's drawing attention to a particular important information. So ensure you use hierarchy very well. Don't use it to do nasty things. You draw attention to non-relevant things. All right. Yeah. So that's it. Number 6, images and graphics obviously can be used to convey information. So using the right image. All right. So I think I was doing a tutorial recently, a live tutorial with my mentees, and I told them about the importance of using images. So use in your design would actually make it possible for it to tell the story. So it has to convey the story of whatever you're creating. So the keyword for that text that you're using the image should be in line with actually tell the story of that phrase. So you should not be saying something like education is key, and you then go and bring someone in, let's say, someone in a construction site. Yeah, so it's not tallying with that message. So when we talk about education, you want to bring people in line with it. You want to showcase images of a library or a school or a student or materials. So you need to understand the use of images, and it will help your design. Even with the use of icons, when you're using icons in your design, use icons that are related. Don't just use Iconify all the time. Iconify. Create custom icons and follow the rules of creating icons so that you can create icons that are in line with whatever you're creating. All right. So, and that would help you a lot in your design. User-centered design, we've talked about that. Accessibility, and that is some of the best practices of creating visually appealing interfaces. Now, introduction to prototyping, which will be focusing more in my exercise, and its importance in UI UX design. So it can do a lot. So prototyping is a process of creating a preliminary version or model of a product or design before it is finalized. So there are certain brands that are using prototypes to actually land funding. and these things happen. All right. So prototype is very important in that case. It's something that users, the stakeholders will actually get to test first before it goes into production. So by going through it, you can spot several things. You can spot several things with the prototype. Maybe there's flow that is missing, or there's in the way it should. There are so many other things. So prototyping is an essential step in the design process that helps designers create and test a design before it is developed. So you need to understand this. Prototyping is important in UX design for several reasons. So these are four of them. One, early validation. So prototyping allows designers to validate their design ideas early in the process before investing time and resources in development. This helps designers catch any design flaws or usability issues early on and make necessary adjustment. Two, user testing. Prototyping allows designers to test their design with real users, real users, and gather feedback on the user experience. At times, when I do certain prototypes, I send it on Twitter, and people on Twitter get it on their mobile phones and see how it works. And I try to get feedback from some of them from the comment section. So this feedback can be used to improve the design and ensure it meets the needs and expectations of the target audience. Iterations cannot be avoided, all right, except you're working for a freelance job. Then you can have just minimal iterations. But if you're working in a company, trust me, you're going to have a lot of iterations. And being from my experience working in a company, I've had to be in meetings with stakeholders, and we've had to go hours. And I'm not talking about 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, actually going through designs and making iterations. So prototyping allows designers to iterate on their design and make improvements based on feedback from users and stakeholders. This helps ensure the final product is user friendly, effective, and meets business goals. So if you're thinking about what iteration is in layman terms, it means go back and make adjustment to this. That's design that you have for brand, always having flyer design one, flyer design two, last flyer design. All of those things are what we call iterations in product design. So it's you making corrections or adjustment to certain things in the design that do not conform with the stakeholders' goals and the engineering goals. So there are certain designs you do, and the engineers who are which when I say engineers, I'm talking about the developers, the front end or the back end. They would tell you, oh, this would not work based on our code base or our infrastructure, whatever they're using for the design. So you need to understand this to be able to create something that will go in line with the stakeholders' goals at the end of the day. Cost savings. All right. So it's going to save cost for the product owner. All right. Prototyping can help save time and resources by catching design flaws and usability issues early on in the design process. This can prevent costly revisions and changes later in the development process. And I think this should be the last phase. Awesome. So we've gotten to the part where we have to create, and I have barely 18 minutes to do this. So if we don't get to the prototyping phase, I will still just buy some time and we will get on with it.
You have the time, please.
Yeah.
I say you can continue the practical part.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'll just take one question before I go on. Is there any question? You just drop it in the session, just one. You have 30 seconds to do that, and then we'll continue with the prototype. 10 seconds remaining. One question. Are there set standards for alignment and proximity? How do you determine how aligned elements should be and proximity between design elements? So to be honest, to answer that question, there's no calculated proximity, and proximity also is distance between elements. All right, so there's no calculated proximity. The truth is, practice would bring improvements, and the more you practice, the more you create things. The more I see people do this calculation thing on the internet, it works at times, but it won't work for all products. So you said along the line, own your design. So whatever decision you're making, just ensure you understand the principles, the fundamentals, the big understand these things before you create any product at all, so that whatever decision you're making would be an informed decision. Right, I guess I hope this answers you. But yeah, there are no calculations. The only calculations you can make when it comes to this kind of things is in regards to the margins of your design, and then the gutter, which Figma has provided a grid system, so you can give it a margin, you can give it a gutter, you can give it a different points grid, different designs. Like for mobile, we have 4 points, for iPad, 8 point grid, and then for web or desktop, we have 12 point grids. All right, but at times there are certain um, places you would want to do certain things. Like for me, if I want to do like a five card system on a line on a web app, then I would use like a 10 point grid. That way I'm able to position things two by two. That's one to from 1 point grid to the second point grid. I would have one card there, and then it flows that way across the 10 point grid, and I can now take it back to 12 points. So this is how I do my own design. You can actually learn about yours and just get your own design style. All right, I'll dive straight into the prototype. You're welcome. Awesome. So let's share this tab. So I would be doing this, and just I need someone to let me know that they can my Figma workspace. Just one person. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So let's dive into this. So one of you need to do before creating a design is what we call style guides. All right. You need to create a guideline for that design. Now, this can be done while you're doing the design. I'm just going to zoom into this so you can see. All right. So this can be done while you're creating that design. Cannot always tell what would be or what would system that you've done before. So I'm talking about regards to um, in regards to the icon size, in regards to text. There are times you may use different text. Like for this text, the normal text I use normally or usually rather is 16 to 18. But in this design, I use 15. All right. So there are different times you would want to use different things. So it's not always consistent across all of the products. But there's something that is always consistent. And in as much as it's consistent, it also has other styles. All right. And that thing is buttons. So buttons would always be consistent in your design. And we have the different states for buttons. We have the active state, which is the first one. We have the secondary state, the one without the field. We have tertiary button, not a secondary state, rather a secondary button. We have tertiary button. Tertiary button are those ones that don't have a field, they don't have a stroke. They are just text. All right, but we draw emphasis to them with colors. So with that color, a user will be able to tell that this is a secondary what's it called? Is a tertiary button, or this is a button that has an action. So I'm going to play this prototype, and so we're going to see what I've done before and see what we would be achieving for today. So buttons are always consistent based on their height. All right, the width don't matter. The width is based on the margin you're using for your design. So if you're using like 20, I use between 18 to 30. So if you're using between that range for your own design. And the way I've done this is I screenshot. I didn't screenshot any app. I would have sent it down here and show you how I do it. But I screenshot mobile applications on my phone, and then I bring it into Figma, put it in this frame. So let's say I'm going to show you an example of that right now. So I'll come here. I'm using phone, if we go up there and I'm using iPhone 13 mini, so if I'm using iPhone 13 mini and I have another design, let's say this one, and let's say it's big, when you screenshot it is big, let's change the color to like yellow, and awesome. So we have this, and this is the screenshot, right? So what I'll do is I'll bring it into this frame, use my alignment to align left and align top. Now, this blue line, that means it's not equal. So the next thing is to hit K or use the scale tool, which is up here in the move tools, and I'll adjust it this way. Now, by adjusting it this way, I'll be able to tell if there was a text, definitely there'll be a text on the design. I'll be able to tell by creating a grid where that text stopped and use as guides for some of my designs. All right, I'll just leave this here, or I'll take that out and I'll start afresh. So we'll be going over this design. Now, like I said, there are different types of buttons. We have this kind of button. This is an all-rounded button. Text buttons, the one that look like this. You can see how it looks. We have 8 points buttons. This one, and at times I use 10 points. So I've never gone beyond 10. So it's either I'm using these codes or I'm using 0, that's the sharp edge buttons, or I'm using the all-rounded ones, which you can give any number and it will be rounded. All right, no specific number until it's rounded. Sometimes I type 1000 and I just leave it at that. Awesome. So let's dive right in, and I'm going to start from creating a frame. So go up here. So before we do that, I think this has loaded. Nice. So let me give it a device, and let's see what we have here. Share this tab. So we have this, and I've created a prototype before now. This was done in January, far January. So you're looking at this. So I've created a prototype for all of this. And we have a prototype or a movement in here. And we have, for this one, we have a color change, which can be done with after delay. We have some movement over here as well. And have this, um, some other things. I just quite a lot of prototype. We have this one, other one, we have this, well, this other one, and the color is just a change. And that's it. So we would be recreating the quickly. Start to finish. It's going to take about over an hour to do that, and I have something else to do. All right, so let's get back into our design. And first thing I'll do is go to frame and then choose iPhone 13 mini. Now I'm using iPhone 13 mini because there are times that you need certain resources in the Figma community and you can just easily this particular one. So there are more guides. People have created more guides. So I've not really found one that I would use. So if you find anyone that is recent, then you can design based on that particular frame. So with this, I'll copy my what's it called, my status bar. So I have my status bar up there, and I'll change this background. Let me change it to, I've created my color styles as well. I have all of my color styles, and I'm going to give it color. This would be the color, and I'm going to create a grid. So click on the grid, choose columns, and definitely it's going to be 4 points. I'll change it to white because this red is a bit tricky in my eyes. And then I'm going to use, let's use 20 for this. 20 is perfect for me. And the gutter would be 16, right? And yeah, even though I never used gutter for this, you can also create another grid, but I'm going to be sticking with this. So another way to actually guide your design is by creating a row grid. So we have grid, we have columns, and we have rows. So with the row grid, you can create the horizontal grids, and you make this as much as 12. You can give it like no need for a margin. You can just leave it like this and just give it 6. X or 16 points, and you're going to have something like this. Right? This will enable you place the designs based on this spacing. So if I'm to draw something like this, let's say I'm drawing something like this, it's placed there. So the next one I'll know it's yeah. All right. I don't need to start calculating it. And the next one, yeah. I know the person that asked that question initially will say, but this was my question. That is not your question, my brother. There are times that some of the things you're going to design would go beyond the line. So it might be at grid. All right. It's not always fixed, but at times this would work for you. So let's shall work with it and see what results we get at the end of the day. So if I extend this, let me see. So we have to do other stuff. So we'll go back to rows and we'll make it top. No, sorry, not top. Make it and we'll do, let's see, have something like this. If we stretch it, let's see what we have. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of the rows. I'll just hide it for now. So give me a second. Let me connect my devices back again. And so I don't. Sorry for the break in transmission. I had to do something real quick. Right, so we have this. I'm just going to title this Winden. Okay, and then we're going to continue with the design. So the first thing, I have different text sizes that I've actually stated here that I've used for this design, and with the H2 being 36 and the H1 will be around 50 or so. So I'm just going to grab a text. I'm not going to be working with the text here, so we're recreating this. So I'll grab a text. Let's move this way and move this closer so that we can see the content we're working with. Right, I guess everyone can see this clearly. Okay, so I'll drag this to touch the margin and ensure that it's touching the margin so it doesn't go across where we've given for the margin. Change this text to white and I'm going to type banking mid 4. I'll make that text medium and I'll reduce the size. It's currently at 36, so I'm going to reduce the size to 32. I'm going to work with 32, drag it downwards and type digital freelancers. Freelancers. And with this, I would click here and give it uppercasing because I don't want to change that manually. And then we're going to give that around, let's say 64. 64 is too much. Initially, I had 50. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so 50 is good. And then we can change the color. I have a linear color here for it in my color style. And grab this text, bring it downwards, and I'll just copy this text and just paste it. It's going to be the same size. All right. And then change it to 15. So that would be the text, and it's on auto. So I'm going to change my height, my text height uh, my line height rather to 24. So this is what I'm going to have. And I'm going to change this other one from 61 to 70. Let's see. Now that's just type auto and would have this. So space between them is 13. I'm going to make that in this design, I'm going to make it 10. And then this one and this one, I'm going to make it 20. Yeah, cool. And then we can create a button. So I would use the frame. So I'm using frame. With frame, I will just draw a button. All right. And my button height is 60. All right. So you can use 60 or you can use 55. So for this purpose, I would use 50. I'll give it the primary color, the purple color, and then I'll type 100 as radius. 100 as radius. I'm going to make this text 16. I don't like how it looks. So make the text 16. Yeah, so let's use 16 for that. I'll grab this, bring it downwards, and I'm actually going to change this text. I'll make it Mena Grotex. Yeah, I like it. Mena Grotex. That's what I'll be using for this particular redesign. And for this one, it was Inter, but I'm going to use Vertica for it. I think that gives a more legible font for this purpose and move this upward. This digital, digital, I'll just change this to bank. Um, let's look for another word. Someone just give me a word in the chat section. I'll come back to it. I need a word to enter 2 lines. So just give me any word and I'll come back to it. All right, for this one, so we're sticking to Helvetica and Mena Grotex as text. And for this one, I'm going to type get started. Cool. Break. So make that 16. I'm going to change it from Roman to bold and then center that horizontally and vertically aligned. Right. So this button looks quite big. So I'm just going to stick with 57. Right. And I'm going to constrain this to left and right. That center, so that whatever I do to it, it follows that line. So whatever I do, it follows. Um, it would become more responsive. Like this, I don't like seeing that green. And yeah, so let's grab the logo down here. Logo is somewhere here. Grab, let's grab this one, right, and bringing it here. Change that to all white. We already have this here, so we'll just use this. Okay. The size is 24, so you can lock it. The size for the menu icon rather, is 64. Align it the center so that they are on the same line, and then we can have a breaker. So we're going to have a line here. And what I've done in the other one is I've given it a linear. I've given it about 4 colors, and the endpoints have a linear of about 0%. So let's do the same thing. Give it white. For now, we'll come back to it. Let's just make that white. If I forget, somebody just let me know in the comment section. And then grab this text down here and type. So there's no need to type that. Copy this, paste, and center this. All right, bring it up a bit. I'm going to give it a space of 16. So the space after the space between the button and the text beneath it, sign up today and get 50% points, is 16. I'm going to drop the opacity to about from 50 to 70%. Let's do 70. Yeah, I like 70. And this as well. Make this 70 as well. Or you can actually choose a different color. So I have that color. Yeah, so I'm going to make it this color. Same with this, my flap color. I wish I can give you guys all the colors. Maybe at the end, I'll just give you the color codes in case you want to try this. But I think I've uploaded, no, there's no need. I uploaded this in my Figma community so you can grab it and see how it was done. All right, let's move on. So I'm actually going to recreate this. Let me show you how this was created real quick. I don't just want to show you prototype. I want to show you how I created everything that was used. Yeah, so let's grab this out. And then we're going to create a frame. Just hit a frame here inside of the design, right? Somewhere around there. And then give it a color white for now. And a radius of 15%. So I'm using a radius of 15. And then with that, we have this. What you have here is just the icon, the brand icon of their logo. But now I've used the icon to do something. So I've, with one of the icon, I was able to create an illusion inside of the design that looked more like a pattern. I actually used it to create a pattern, not that looks like it's a pattern. So I created a pattern for it, and we're going to have this. Select all of this, send them to the back, and then we can now give it different color. So yeah, so select all of this. This is going to be at the top. I'm going to change the name to icon so I know the rest of them. Select the rest of them, change their color to white, and change the background color for this to my flap color. For now, I'm going to use a more lighter color. Yeah, inner component color. If you need to write this down, just write it down. F7, F8, FC. So I don't need to repeat that. You hear it again when you watch the video. So we zoom into this. We can now create certain things like blurs. So let's bring this way. That, we'll grab that again. Okay. Grab the visa icon. The visa icon can be gotten from Iconify. So grab that in, align it to the left side of this, and then we have this other one, which is, we'll make this 10 in size. Bring it in here. Both of them, auto layout, and then constrain to the right, so that when we extend this from this point, is always at that point. If we extend this one, it moves with it. And constrain this as well. Right, what's the other information? So I'll just grab all of this information. I'll tell you what their sizes are, so you just know what they are. So we're going to use 12 for this. Use 12 for their sizes. Yeah, and I've put it in an auto layout frame, left aligned, and we can also grab this. Right. I'm going to change the, okay, so we have this one as well. I'll reduce the size of this one a bit. Together with this, center them horizontally. And my name, bring it here. I actually feel the layout for this design can be better. So I'm going to move this to the center. I'll center it, and then with this one, I'll bring it down here. I know they are like terms. Then for my name, I'm actually going to make it capital letter, and it would not be this font. It will be menal.text. Make that bold. Oh, amazing. I like that. Right. So with this, I will now have to create some kind of uh, stuff here because I'm going to be creating some drop shadows. So select this one, apply a drop shadow, extend it downwards, bits, and on the x-axis as well. And then we're going to choose the background color, take it downwards a bit, and then blur it to about 60%. Let's see what 60 looks like. And then we can reduce the opacity a bit, something like this. Quite a lot went into this. I would give this a radius of about 15, and extend this one to cover up the other space at the top. Okay, so we'll extend this other one as well. Send it to the back. Since we already have a blur value, I'll just add it to the style so that I don't need to do that again. So I'm going to type effects, right? And I would apply that to this one as well. Select the style here. I choose the second effect. And with that, I can blur this, change the radius to 15, change the radius of these two as well to 15, and either press enter or press done at the top. We'll do the same thing to this one, but before we do that, let's extend this. This would be the last one. So I'll just extend it completely like this. No need for this to be too far away, and send it to the back. Right, with this, I would choose the effect again, and we're going to change the radius as usual to 15%. Great. Right, so let me move this way and move this way. This to be completely outside, and let's do same thing for this. Something like this, radius of 15%, radius of 15%. So with that, we can title it card. Let's bring it into our design. We're going to use this card as a base for most of the things we'll be designing. So like what I mean is we're going to use it for some of the things we're going to create. So the background for this, I'm going to change the background now. Choose main background. This should be the background. And then we'll give it a white stroke, and it's going to be outside. So we're going to use around 5. Let me see how that, let's use 2. Right. And this, I'm just going to choose this color for this one. Cool. Let's see how that looks. So I'm going to change it to inside. Yes, I like that. Right. Change my radius to 10. I don't like how too rounded it is. And we can now proceed. So at the top, I'm going to drag this. So because I haven't constrained these designs, so I'm constraining them to the top. I'll just select all of them actually. All, select all. Yeah, including everything, just constraining to the left and the top. Now, if I try to, and what's happening there? Left, which other one? Okay, okay. Okay, so with that, we can extend it. And now we're going to design, just bring this, I'm just going to bring this in. It's just text, okay? It's just text. So I'll bring that in, but I'm going to recreate this so that you see what I was talking about. So just grab all of these and move them in. Move them in. This one, center it, center as well. And I'm going to break it. Let it touch the both ends and select both of them with this on auto layout. Center it. Now we're going to put all of this in a different color. So from here, you know what? Let's have it for the top. So we'll just do it for the top alone. And this top color would be our hero top color. Send that to the back. And we have that. Right. So the background, I have a background color for it already, titled background. So we have this now. And let's proceed. So now I need this to follow me. So it's going to be somewhere around here. Change our color of the background grid to black so we can see what we're doing. Now we're going to design this card and then we're going to use it for the rest of the items to follow. Consider this and change it to white. There are ways you can actually create an illusion of drop shadow without actually creating a drop shadow. It's by using a particular shade of gray, not a particular, there are different shades of gray you can use, and then placing white on it, and it will look like you have a drop shadow on that particular stuff, just like this one. But there's no drop shadow on it. So I hope this helps someone out there. So with that on, we're going to design this. So let's move this downwards. Now I'm going to use a particular, I'm going to do this for, um, I'm going to do it for this three, or if we can get into this fourth one, we would. So I'm going to use a particular frame for the image section because this component, even though it's not a component now, was has elements like text, shape. These are shapes, icons, and then an image section. So that is what is consistent across all of them. So it has to be consistent in the design. So we're going to have to do. So I'm going to give it a spacing of 18. So I'll draw this, align it to the left, and the width is 25. So I'm going to change that to 20. I've given it a width of 20 and duplicate that, send that to the end. And then with this, I can now tell where my inner stuff should end. So I'm not done. So duplicate it and send to the top and center it. And then let's change the color to something like our flap color so that we know what is happening there. So I'll move this to this point. This was just me trying to understand where my margin will stop at the inside of it. So I'll delete this one as well. Now it's time to align it to the top. So I'll just press with my navigation key one step and it touches that remaining one line. Delete that. I don't need it anymore. And so I have that. So I'll just hide my grid for now so that it doesn't affect your eyes so much. And we can now walk with what we have. Now we already have a particular style we're using. So I'm just going to grab these two texts, bring them in here, align them to the left, and then select both of them and align left. Now we're going to be using the left alignment throughout. So in order for us to achieve this, I'm going to reduce this one this way and this one this way as well so that they flow in the manner that we want. So the first word here is unlimited. So copy and paste that. And the next one is rewards. Let's just type that rewards. And we have this. Now I think I have a second. Let me see. That's not it. So I have another grid. Okay. So let's use this one. The colors are different. It starts with purple and ends with the light blue, but let's continue with this. Or you know what? I'll just add this to my design system, my color style, linear 2. So I have that and then select this. With that, I can use it across everything. Now with this, and that is pretty much what I'll be doing. Right. So if we extend this, cool. Awesome. So with this, I would grab the body text. So I'll just grab this. No, let me grab this, bring it in to this file and place it in line with that. I'm going to make this what's it now? 16. So the proximity between both of them will be 16. And then I'm going to change the text to body text. Sorry, I selected the wrong thing. Select this and change it to text color. And we have this. So let this flow here. And then we can copy this. And then we have a socket. Right. Awesome. Awesome. Then an auto layout frame. And I will just take it up some more. Let's do 14. And we're to have a line go across this. So draw a line this way, move it upward a bit, somewhere around here, and change it to my line color. I have a line color, center it at the center, and just grab this and center it, put it at the center, move it in. Now I'm going to put it in a frame actually so that I know that it's centered. Now everything has to be calculated. So I know it's centered and I'll send that to the back, make the background kind of white and select this. I'll cut it out, put it inside of this frame, send it to the top. It may be hidden. So if it's hidden, if you send it to the top like this, select the frame and on clip content. So there's clip content, just click on it and then you can be able to see that object. That way, if you move this, it moves with that line as well. And then you can select this and center it horizontally and vertically. Great. So where our content is coming fine, but we have one thing. So I'll constrain this to the down part. I'll constrain this to the down as well because I want to increase the height of this text. So by doing that, I would have to move this component a bit downwards, right? And then I would move this text. I'm moving it so that it will be the same frame with everything I'm designing in this design, and it won't have to compete. It won't have to make me create different frames for all of these kind of images. So everything would be the same size, including this one. You can see this one is longer. This one, the height of this one is 233, and then the height of this one is 154. So I want everything to conform inside of the same height. So my components will be fine. I don't want to create a variance for this. So with this first one, change the color to the inner component color, and then we can create images for all of them. So I'm going to grab this Move it out. That would be our base for all of the images we'll be creating. Duplicate it and then work on this first one. So the first one is going to have, let's move this upward. It's going to have this line. Right, so it's still going to have that calculation. So I won't do that calculation again because time is going. My time is already fast spent. All right, so select this purple color and then duplicate it. Now we're going to give it different shades. All right, so with this, I'll send this to the back. But before I do that, I would delete this first. And then, you know what, let's just grab all of this text in here, copy it, and paste it inside of this. All right, you can see the other one is longer. So move it this way and auto layout at the top. So it should also layout at the top. And then center this horizontally and vertically. That way we can now create the other variations. And this time I would reduce the size to something like this, move it upward a bit, something like this, and I'll just choose a color, send it to the back, duplicate it, and reduce the size a bit like this, send it to the back, and then give it that last color. Right, nice. So this would work for if we're creating like a prototype. I'll make this, I'm actually going to make this enable. We're creating a prototype. So these other ones, we can now bring them at the top. We can always bring them at the top to create the prototype. So I might not have time to create all the prototypes. I'll just choose one to create, but let's just create the images. So for this one, I'll just, because of time, just grab this out and move it in here. It already has like a prototype, so I'll remove the prototype from it. So we're going to have, what's it called? Detach instance. And then I'm just going to grab, in fact, I'm just going to grab all of the text in here, cut them, and paste them in here. Center. Yeah, perfect. And then we can now round those corners. I think about 300 should give a perfect round. Cool. Delete this one. Select this, move it downwards. Delete this, move this downwards. Select all of this, delete it. And what's the next one? Okay. Copy that. Come back here, paste it, and we can do detach instance, right? And move this in. I'm going to reduce the size a bit, something like this. Let's see if it has. So we have it at 3. So let's break this. I'm going to show you how this was created. Do this, move it in, center it. No, sorry, I was going to center it at the middle. All right, I'm going to create some more. I'll duplicate it like 2 more times. And let's grab all of this. Let's just grab this and make it the background. Take that, send that to the back. Reduce the size a bit. Yeah, something like this. Then we can get rid of this. You know what? Let's work with these 3. So we're going to prototype these 3 elements. So I'm going to just change it to image. Copy that. Image 1, image 2, image 3. Let me check the comment section, chat section. Okay. New digital freelancers. Thank you very much. I love that. Lua Dare. or Dari. That's like that. New digital uh, for all. Let's use for all new. Let me see if that will enter. It won't enter. Okay. Let's do that here. For all new digital freelancers. Thank you, Dari. Okay, so let's proceed. So, in order for you to actually get a prototype, um, get an accurate prototype, there are certain things you need to do. First, you need a component, and then you'll be able to create that prototype. So, there are things known as component sets. There are a set of components you've created, and either two or more, you can be able to create prototype between those component sets. So in order for us to have that prototype, we would have to do something here before we can have a primary component that will be used across board. But in order for us to have this primary component, we'll need to have like an image base. So we'll need to put all of this in a prototype, in a component rather, and then by putting all of these images in a component, we'll be able to change them within this primary component. So what I mean is if we have, for instance, if I come to this one, this is not a prototype. If I come to this one, I didn't title. If I do another frame, you see it changes. It gives you different layers of what I've created initially and even the empty state, right? So you're going to create this for, let me do like an obvious one. Yeah, this one. So if I do this, you're going to see where it is. All right, but that was not its primary state. All right, and then by doing all of those components, creating all of those types, you can now push these stuffs into here, and then they'll work. But in order for us to make these elements, all of these images, a prototype that will work inside there, would have to create their different components. So we're going to start with this one. This one is going to be flowing, just like we have it in the prototype. So if I go to that part, you can see it flowing on its own. I'm not doing anything, it's just flowing on its own. All right. So in order for us to have that, I'll come back to the file, would need to do something. So this is what you're going to do. Now, if you look at what I've selected, it's very long. It gets to this point. All right. For us to have a good prototype that would flow on its own, would have to make this, I would have to reduce the height, the length, not the length, the width of this. So I'm reducing it to this point. All right. And then I'll move it out. You're still going to see other things. These are the other things. If I click content, you won't see them again. If I turn on the content, you're going to see it. So I'm going to click content. Now I have it at the starting point. This is the starting point, and then I'll duplicate it. In order for me to create that free flow, I'll duplicate it, and then by selecting, sorry, let me do this first. So I have just one frame here. So if I try to move anyone, it will not give me that free flow I want. So I'm going to create another frame around it. All right, and let's just make this only a stroke line so that you can see what I'm doing. Close out the fill, or let's give it, let's give it a fill. Yeah, and remove. With this, I would move this to touch here, and then hold control to move this. Why I'm holding control is if I do this, you see what happens. All right, but that's not what I'm aiming at. So I'll hold control, and with my left click, I can get that. Do it for this part as well, and the top. Now let's change that color and see what we did there. Awesome. This is accurate. This is what I was aiming for. Right. So we can remove all of those stuff. We don't need the all of that. Now we have our frame. So the default frame or frame one, whatever you want to call it. And then for this one, I'll just select the file inside. This is the file inside. Select it, and if you look at what I'm doing, I'll go to um, the alignment tool and align right. Now you see all of this will change. It will take me to the last item. This is default. This okay. So last item because of something. Sorry. So before we put this into that frame, we did something. So Figma has recognized it as only two items. So we're going to extend this back to the number that and then move it in again. So center it left and right. And we're going to leave it at that for now. We already have this frame. So extend this one, select it and hit align right. So with that, we have this, and you can see the other part of it is this way. So with this, leave it like this, select both of them, close the color field, which is the background field. I'll select both of them and hit create component set at the top. So I'll do that again in case I was too fast. When you select both of them, go to the top where you have components, click on the drop down arrow and choose create component set. Now with this, I have to create an interaction. So I'll go to prototype, all right, select the first one and then drag the arrow downwards. This pops out. Now we're going to be using after delay. So I'll go to after delay, change it to smart animate, all right, and I'm going to change this to I think it's 0 or 1, and then this will be like 10,000. Yeah, so you can type anything, it will still give you 10,000 if it exceeds 6 digits, all right. And then for this that is returning back to this one, I would drag it from here to it, and it's going to be, I'm going to give it ms, and it's going to be on after delay. All right, after delay would also be one ms. So we're going to test this out and see what happens, and so we can be sure that that is what we've done. So draw a frame and then drag that out. I would give my frame a different color. Let's make that red. That red is too shouty, so let's give it like this. Yeah, nice. And then play. While that is working, while that is loading, we can now move this prototype. You can find it in the assets. So from assets, you can see it here and drag it out and then put it in your frame. Or you can click this one, hold Alt. If you're my kind of person, I don't like to click multiple things. You can just hold Alt and drag this out. It will still be a component. And if you use it, it will still be, it's still the same. So let's just use this one that we brought out. Put it here. All right. And then we're going to align it to touch the border. So to touch the border and center it at the middle like that. And let's see what we have in our prototype. Awesome. So we have this in our prototype. It's inside a frame. That's why it's this way. So it's what we actually want. So let's go back to this tab. That and that is correct. So we have our first completed prototype ready, and we're going to have like a second one. So the second one will be this one. We'll do this one. All right. So let's move this one downwards. We've done one. So select this one, duplicate it. All right. Now, if this goes downwards, where do you think it would get to? Which one of these would it be? So if this go downwards, it's going to be the last one, and then the second one will become first, and the uh, last one will become second. The first one will become last. So to do that, all you need to do is select this. So what I like to do first is draw this, bring these drop downs, my grid, so that it guides me where I'm to stop. This is not All right. Can anyone hear me? Sorry, my Wi-Fi went off. Can anyone hear me? Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So with this, we can what we're supposed to do. Select this one to also keep this here. A lot of the grids. Do it for the next one as well. These grids will help give me something. Now we're going to have a wacky. Yeah.
Let's just be patient. I think his network went off. Hopefully, he's going to come back. Let's use this time to do the retweets, the tweets, and using the hashtags. Mention friends of Figma Port Harcourt, hashtag FOFPH, hashtag UX Design Bootcamp PH, hashtag FOFPH Bootcamp. So let's just do that on Twitter. That's the only support you can give friends of Figma Port Harcourt for all we have put out so far. So thank you so much for doing that. Thank you. I think today's class network wants to end the class for us because he's finding it difficult to come back online. I can imagine. I'm trying to connect with him, please. Just a moment.
Hello, so sorry. I don't know. There's light and my Wi-Fi is going off. I don't know what's happening. If you can hear me, please just let me know. I'll just wrap up with these two prototypes, and I guess understanding of how it works. Yeah, thank you, Joshua. All right, so I had played the prototype. Let me find it. Should be here. Awesome. So we have it here. So let me take out. Let me remove the frame, put it at none so that we can see it clearly. Okay, so this is how it is, and if I had created it for all of them, it will also be this way. So you can also make it slow, you can make it faster, whichever way you want it to be, and it's going to work in that way. So I'll come back to this tab. So we have those two, and all I need to do, I'm actually going to work with these two. I'm sorry, guys, I don't know what's happening to my Wi-Fi. So I'll work with these two. Select this. To do this one, all you need to do to be able to achieve this is you multiply it 3 times, and for each of them, you would select all of them and reduce them in the different frames three ever times you want it, but I'll recommend 3 times, and then you would put it on after. Let me do that. Let me do that now. So we have this frame. This is the main frame. Then I should be able to do that quickly. So select everything in it, move it downwards. This select it again, hit it, and this time I'm going to hide most of them. So downwards, I'm holding shift to move it downwards this way. All right, select all of this, move it this way. And with this, I'm going to create an empty state for it actually. So let's move it this way, and then this one, I'll move it this way. And this one, I would because it will fall from the top. So I'll just move it upward this way, somewhere around, and just send it inside. Yeah, so it's hiding. The idea is for it to look like it fell from the top. So you would see how it when we prototype this. So select all of it, go up here and hit create component, right? And then we're going to do the same thing. So prototype to the next one. All right, and then from here, it's definitely going to be after delay, and it's on 800 ms. But we're going to test it and see which one would work. All right, so I'm doing this live. I'm not like I don't have like a pre-recorded um, um, document. So select after delay. The same thing for this one. After delay with the default, the last one, it would come back to would it be this one? Let's put it at this one. Falls if something falls off, which one would it go to? So let's take it to the first one, right? And put that at after delay. So let's see if that works. Send this out. Select this, move it into it, and let's see what we have. If it gives us desired result. Okay, so we're going to reload this screen and see. Okay, so that is really fast, but that is actually what we want. So I'm going to on I have to actually put it on. I'm going to make it shorter. I'll make the time shorter. So I'm selecting everything. You can hold shift to click on all of them. Right. With this, we can now test. Make this 200 mx. Make it around 1000 mx. And then this one, I'm going to make it 300. The one at the top, you have to delay, and let's see what we have. So it's kind of smooth. It's kind of smooth now. It can be better. right? So I would actually make it 800. So let me share the screen. Right, so you see what I'm doing. I'll make it 800, and let's see what happens in the other one. Okay, so it's still much. Make that 2000, and this should be like 100. Okay, so you just have to test it, see which one works for you. So it has to just fall. So I'm one of this. I'm going to delete the middle one. Actually going to delete the middle one. It's too much interaction for it. So from here, it will go to this after delay, from this to this, from this to that. Okay, let me see what this gives. I'm deleting one more, moving it to the next one after delay, and let's see what happens now. We load that screen, and let's test that. Okay, so this is exactly what I want. So I would select all of these inside of it, just select everything and move them downwards to somewhere around. Okay, you're not seeing what I'm doing, sorry. So I moved it from where it was to somewhere around here. So let's see how that works for us. Let's try that out again. Okay, so that's exactly what we want, but in order for us to have it, we need to make it slow. So we're going to make it very slow. So I'll just select both of these and change the After Effects time into 800, and let me see how that works. Okay, so we're close to what we need. Change it from 3000 to 2000, and we're going to have something as slow, right? So it's 1000. Let's see what that gives. That's so fast. So fast. Okay. Okay. So we're going to stick with this. I will change the one coming back to 1 second, and this one as well. Let's see. 1 second, 1 millisecond. See what happens there. Okay, cool. So that's what we need. So this is a setting in after delay, 1 millisecond, smart animate. The action is on slow, and then I'm using, is this 600? Was it not? It wasn't 600. I did 6,000. I'm using 6,000 for it for the interaction. All right. So we have this one now sorted, and we'll then duplicate this out. Now, in order to use it for our design, we'll select all three of them that have been prototyped. Go to our component here, drop down, create component set. Now we have all of our interactions and all the images we're going to use as this. So I would have to name them. I just want to name them 1, 2, and the last one we're going to name it 3, just so we know. All right, so with that, I'll select this and duplicate it, move it into not into that frame, send it upward this way. That way I've calculated what I want to calculate. Select this, put it here. All right. And we have this. So I'll just change the name of this to component, primary component. Hey, change that to primary component. And from here, we can change it to whichever one we want to change it to. So let's leave that at 1. And we're going to bring it into design now. Right, zoom in, bring it up here. And we can delete the other one. We don't need the other one anymore. Select this. Now we have an in-between line. So I'll just grab the line. Right, the line has a proximity of 66, but in this other design, it won't have that proximity. So send it to the back. And then reduce this to this point. I'll G, and then you can have it extend as much as you want. Now I have the have at the center, so I'll bring it in here, and yeah, for the line I'm going to extend it some more, something like this, and then center it. Perfect. That's what I'm looking for. And proximity between this one and the first component is 50, and that is what we're going to use for the rest of it. So select this, duplicate it, we're going to use 50 as well. So if you select all three, you see that, yeah, you can see the space in between. So space between item is 50. All right, it's going to be the same thing for the last one as well. Yeah, the last one actually, that's where I'm going to stop. And I'm sure you'll be able to get something from this short presentation that I've done. Right, so from this last one, you can change the text later to whatever you want. So we'll just leave it at this for now. And so we'll now have to now change the images. So this one, we're going to change to image 2, and then this one, we change it to image 3. And we are done. We are done with everything. So we just, I don't need this, delete. You know what? Let me grab this. I'll just grab this and keep it at the end. That's the end of the design. So paste it here, send it downwards, constrain to the down part, and then move this upward a bit like this. And we are done. So this creates starting point flow 2. Okay, we didn't do this one. So select this, the line. So this is what you do with a line. Go to this part, click on the break detach style, click on this part. All right, I'm just doing this for some newbies that might not know how to do this. So with that, you would have this line. You see all of this. So position one here and position the other one this way. Create 2 in between, and then this one would now carry a figure of 0 actually. Let's just give it like 25. Go back to hash. we're giving it 13, and this one would make that 13 as well. Right. At the end of the day. All right. So this is cool for me. Go to prototype, play, and let's see what we have. So now I'm going to change the prototype show setting. I'm going to put it at iPhone 13 so that we can see what we have. And I'm going to change the background color to something like this. Maybe like this. Let's see. Awesome. So we didn't prototype the card, but the card is can be prototyped with just two cards. So you move one upward inside of a frame, and then you keep one in the position where it is, and you would have that effect. So this is the prototype of the other prototype that we have here. And then this is the second one that we did. And then this is the other one. It's shy. You so 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 fast. Let me go back and fix that stuff. I saw 16 600. It's not supposed to be 600. It's supposed to be 6,000. I don't know where that came from. Right. So let's take that from the top. Right. We have this other one, and then we have this. All right, guys. That's it from me. And if you have any question, I'll take one or two questions, and then we call it a day. Thank you for coming to this to my class. Hello, guys. Did you see the end part of this? The blue background. Okay, okay. So sorry, guys. I don't know why my Wi-Fi just keeps tripping off. All right. So to do the blue background, let me take you to this part. Is here when you come to prototype, it always has a background. So it's going to be on black as default. Yeah, you can just click here, use your eyedropper to pick any color that you want. I can change the color to whatever I want, and it's going to affect of whatever you're designing. This will help you create like a video if you want to create like screen record your screen or your design and post them on the internet. This would help you um, put the background to be what you actually want it to be. And so with that, I don't know if you guys saw the prototype. Yeah, you can now see the prototype that was created, and yeah, that is basically how it works. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pran. And yeah, the other prototype is downwards. It's here, so it's on after delay. What I've used for all of the prototype is after delay. So with after delay, you can create all of the prototypes for all the design that I've actually created. So that is it, guys, and I hope you got something from that. I just noticed something in the other one, so like this tool and on clip the flows, you can still see it. Okay, how can we send our prototype for users to test? So there are two ways. I'm going to show you two ways you can do this, and it's going to work for one is going to work for your portfolio if you want to share it to your portfolio, and two, if you want to send it to users. So if you want to share this to your portfolio, where you have this screen where I am now, when you play the prototype, at the top, you're going to see share prototype. So click on it, and then you can allow anyone with link to view, or they can edit. They can either view or edit, or you can change it to only people invited to this file. So if I change it to this and I share this with you, you would have to request to see the type. So there are two ways. The first one is to copy this link and send it to the user, and the user, anybody would be able to see this prototype. If I send it to you guys now, since this is a new file, I'll just copy it and paste it in the chat session, and anybody will be able to see it on their phone. All right. So now with that prototype in the chat session, you can view it on your mobile phone. And then with the second one that says get embedded code. So with this embedded code, if you get it, if you open it, you're going to see this code, and then you can copy it and paste it in your Behance file. So if I have like a Behance post and I want to make a post on Behance, so let's say for instance, I would create a new tab, and on Behance, I want to upload this prototype. So I'm going to come here, click on, I can see you guys are already in the file. That was fast. So select Behance, and then I'll share this tab. I'll go to share your work. The network is a bit slow, so it's still loading. So I'll go to this part. I'm going to show that part when it's done loading. All right, so I'm going to share a project, and in here I've copied the code. So when you go to share prototype, click on get embedded code, copy it, and then come up here and choose prototype. This is prototype. You can also choose it here. It's here, prototype. If you click it, you can now paste that. I paste the code here and I click embedded. It's going to show this here. So within a split second and about a few seconds, it will load here. So what you're going to find here is the prototype, and you can see it's loading on my screen. Anybody at all will be able to use it from this point. But before you share the code to this part, there's something you need to do. You need to ensure that you fix your, what's it called, your screen. I actually made it 100% because I wanted you guys to see it clearly. You fit it to screen. That way it's going to reduce in size, and then you can copy that particular code. So I'm going to leave it at 100%. And this is how users will be able to interact with in your portfolio. So they'll be able to see it in your portfolio actually. And yeah, that's it, guys. Yeah, so that's it. Any other question before I shut down? Can anyone hear me? What about sharing study design? How can we get the recorded video? Okay, I think the organizers will make that available to you, but I'll be sharing mine on my YouTube channel. So probably later on you can check that out. What about sharing on your case study design? On your case study design, yes, I just showed you how to do that. So where are you going to upload the portfolio, the video? It's going to be on Behance, or if you have a portfolio website of your own, then you can record the screen and upload it there as a video content. So I just showed you how to upload it on your Behance account, like putting it alongside your case study work, putting it alongside. When you say alongside, what do you mean? Do you mean um, I don't know. I don't know what you mean actually. So what do you mean, Joseph? Like putting it alongside your case study work. Alongside. That's what I just showed you on Behance. You mean the design? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you definitely have to export it. Okay. Let me show you guys. I think you're talking about export. So for me, I like to create like a presentation. And if you see in the Davio file here, I've created like a presentation for my work, for what I was going to talk to you guys about. And I like to create presentations here. So after designing, you have to create a presentation. So you choose your frame based presentation, go to social media rather, and choose Instagram post. And you can now convert all of these different screens to designs, right? You can convert it to design. So there's something I do. Have this, just change it to 20px, and then I'll give you a frame of like, let's do this outside. I hope this is what you mean. Yeah. This I can now probably, let's say there are multiple designs. All right. Can have this, multiple designs. In fact, let me show you how I twist my designs. So I'm going to do this. Okay. Move it upward. Let's duplicate this some more time. Select all of them, group them, Control G. Yeah. And then come up here. I'll go to plugins and I use Isometric. Isometric is spelled Easometric, in case you're not able to see it clearly. And then I'm going to choose top right. And within a few seconds from now, it's going to flip this in a different perspective for me. And is just bring it into my frame and I would have this. So with this, let's do this, right? With this, I'll select this one, send it to the top. I would add a drop shadow effect to it, bring it downwards a bit, something like that. Increase this. So let's choose blue, the dark blue, and then blur it. I'm going to blur it something like that. Then reduce the opacity a bit. Extend it some more, something like this. And these are just decorations, all right? Nothing serious. And then I just have like an illusion in this manner. Change the background from what it is to something like this. You know, let's give it like this, and then select it. All right. After selecting it, you can now hit export. So in my export, what I do is I use 4x for my designs and I use PNG. I don't use JPEG. All right. So I use PNG as the file extension. And then once you click export, this will export into your file. And that's it. Do yeah. I hope that helps. All right, guys. I think we've come to the end of. So we've come to the end of my session. I don't know if the guys. So we've come to the end of my session. I don't know where the guys are, but I think I'll just call it a day. So in the absence of any other question, I would like to say, don't forget to show yourself out there. Try to show up for whatever opportunity you see to share your work. Show up, just come up, post your stuff, and ensure that people see the things that you do. And I'm always there to give you my little nuggets. I'll see you guys when I see you, and do have yourself a lovely evening.